is wrong. You know the people you hang around with is wrong. You know they dragging you down. Orders and rushed them to safety outside the city. For the Lord was merciful. And when they were safely outside of the city, one of the angels ordered, "Run for your lives and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains, or you will be swept away." Let me read that again. You could put that up. 17. And when they were safely out of the city, one of the angels ordered, "Run for your lives and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains, or you will be swept away." Verse 26. Listen what happened. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following behind them, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Lot's wife looked back as she was following. That's key. Look back as she was following behind. They are there and she is here. She was falling or following behind, and she looked back, but she turned a pillar of salt. I want to talk to you today from the subject, don't turn back. Hear me. They were here and she was there. She was behind them from a distance. She looked back, but in some translations it says she turned back. And before she can go back, God turned her into a pillar of salt. So look at your neighbor and tell him, don't you turn back. Y'all might have quiet said, neighbor, don't you turn back. You may be seated. Today I approach this lesson with exploring Lot's unplanned departure out of Sodom and Gomorrah. These were two cosmopolitan cities. Lot chose to dwell in Sodom. Lot was misled by a distant look or glance at something that had appeared to be a place of prosperity. He lived under the false delusion, but appeared to be really wasn't. It appeared to be a place of prosperity. Only he would discover that it would be a place of total depravity. He chose this place not knowing what was in the place. You remember in Genesis 12, when Lot and his uncle Abram was commanded to leave and go to a place where he said, I'll show you, I'll make you, and I'll bless you. As long as Lot was connected To Abram, he was blessed. He was blessed. He was so blessed that there were conflict between Lot's herdsmen and Abel's herdsmen. And they said, let no strife come between me and thee. Abram, the uncle, said, whatever parcel land you chose, if you choose the right, I'll go to the left. If you choose the left, I'll go to the right. It's up to you. And Lot, was looking for something that appears from a distance. It was a place of prosperity. He was living on a false delusion. What appeared to be wasn't. What appeared to be wasn't. It was a place of total depravity. The people were depraved. The conscience of God was gone. It was depraved in their thinking, depraved in their actions. Lot and his family was in a place that collided with God's standard of righteousness. A place of depraved place and environment. It was a false look of prosperity. My brothers and sisters, that's why you got to know who you hang with. It was a place of false prosperity. It was a gathering of rootless and godless people. Lot will become a victim of his own environment, the place that he had created. Lot was an extremely wealthy person, but his wealth would be reduced to ruins. He had a miscalculation of his environment. Some of you are connected to the wrong people and live in the wrong environment. Miscalculation of Lot's part and the unwillingness of Lot to make adjustments caused him to lose everything. He should have known. But once he known what he should have known, he did not make the necessary adjustments. Once you learn that the environment and the people that you are connected with, you ought to be bold enough and big enough to cut your losses and move on. Wealth brought him, his family, Edomiah and Solomon. Wealth that had attracted itself to him. Wealth had attracted itself to him because his attraction was because of the result of his blessed uncle Abram. He was blessed not because he was smartest or the brightest, but he was blessed because he was connected to his uncle. And his uncle was connected to God. And because his uncle was righteous, because he believed God, God called Abram his friend. And no one else in Scripture did God call anyone friend except for Abraham. Wealth attracted him. Wealth was a part of his life. But this wealth was a result of his attachment to his uncle Abraham. I want you to please take a note, please take into account that your environment can determine your success or your failure. That's why sometimes it's very important for you to move. Some folks don't like to move, but sometimes you got to get out of there. If you're around a bunch of people that don't want nothing, you got to move. If you're trying to be a reform addict, a reform alcoholic, a reform work addict, you can't hang around with people that have your problems. You got to learn to find people that got your solutions. Come on, help me somebody. During this season of reflection, our stewardship during this season, you have to examine the environment that you're living. Let's examine these two cities' environment. The author described, when we go to this text, they described that this place was as evil or wicked. The city was evil. It was wicked. The notion of this wickedness indicated that the inhabitants, they were depraved in their mind and actions. They had the lack of moral character, the absence of judgment. Oh, they had the absence of judgment. They had the lack of moral character. And rich and wealthy Lot surrounded himself and family among depraved people. The inhabitants, we dwell on the behavior of the men who approach Lot's house to mistreat his house guests, which were angelic beings. But it was bigger than that, just one instance. This whole city was depraved. It lacked moral character. It had the absence of judgment. And I don't care how rich you are, how skillful you are, if you surround yourself among depraved people, you will become what you hang with. Why y'all quiet up in here? That's why the Bible said, come out from among them and be separated. You got to come out. We're supposed to live a life of holiness, a life of separation, not a life to blend. Why you're not saying nothing? There's too much blending going on in the church. Too much blending of the people of God, and the world cannot see the distinction between us. When Peter said that we are a holy people, we are peculiar, we are set aside, and therefore people can't see it because we're blending. Part of my stewardship is who I'm hanging with. That's part of my stewardship. What kind of environment that I'm hanging in? What kind of environment that I plant my time, talent, and resources? I believe this text not only speaks of inappropriate behavior of the dwellers of the cities, but Lot's tolerance to the environment of the depraved people. He tolerated his environment. He was in denial. He conformed to his depraved environment. Oh, y'all ain't paying me no attention this morning. I know this is tight. Lot lost what he had because he stayed too long in the wrong place. He lost what he had because he stayed too long in the wrong place. Maybe you have lost what was meant for you because you stayed too long in the wrong place. I need somebody to help me say, come out. Say, come out. He stayed too long in the wrong place. Did you hear me? He lost it because he stayed too long in the wrong place. You lost it because you stayed too long. The next event, true, it was worse. The most depraved event within this text is when the angel of the Lord, the angels of the Lord too, entered into this depraved environment and they were mistreated. When guests showed up, holy angelic beings showed up into this depraved environment, they were mistreated. Lot knew that they would be mistreated because he begged them not to go into the square of the city, but to come to my house. He knew this environment was wrong. Some of you can't get ahead because you know it's wrong. You know your environment is wrong. You know the people you hang around with is wrong. You know they're dragging you down. Come on, help me somebody. Read the text. It was not just merely about the behavior or the misbehavior of the inhabitants of Solomon. We so fast to point out, see, God destroyed the city because of misbehavior of men with men. But it's greater than this. It was Lot's inability to lift himself out of the depraved environment. It was his inability to lift himself out of this depraved environment. Most people focus on the behavior of the men, after men, but I suggest these practices was not mere the problem of misbehavior or inappropriate behavior towards the outside guests, but the had lost his way. Listen, don't lose your way. No matter what it looks like. Some people lose their way. They're looking for something, and it is a delusion. It's not real. Trust the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to thy own understanding. In all your ways, he will direct your path. If you trust God, he will lead you and guide you. Why you're not saying, am I right, somebody? It was not the problem of their misbehavior, but the inhabitants of the city, along with Lot, lost their way. Their conscience was seared. Their ability to overcome greed was absent. Their judgment was gone. Their God awareness was gone. Their discipline of the flesh had no longer existed. They were totally depraved. And you know, can I tell you something? That people come to church shouting and dancing is totally depraved. Come on now, I don't care how much you shout, how much you scream. There's some people conscience is seared. There's some people are so greedy that they don't have a consciousness to extend a helping hand. There's some people that come to church that have no judgment. There's some people that sit in the pew have no awareness of God. There's some people that come to church have no discipline of their flesh. And they wonder why they can't get ahead. They wonder why it seems like everything is collapsing. You have an environment that's out of control. Can you look at your neighbor and say, get control? Come on, say it again, get control. One of the main points of this text, teach us, as the angel told Lot, escape for your life. Lot is given the opportunity to leave the environment of choice, to escape pending destruction. I want you to hear this. This was his environment of choice. It was a depraved environment that he didn't know from the beginning, but once he got in it, he knew that it was a depraved environment. But because of his uncle, oh man, Abraham. Now this is powerful, I want you to hear this. God, because Abraham was friends with God, God said, I'm going to destroy that city, Abram. In a conversation, when you're a friend with God, God will disclose some things in order to give you the heads up. Come on. You ain't that bright, but God will give you the heads up. He will show you some stuff. He'll tell you some stuff. You run into some stuff. You overhear some stuff. That's God. And God told him, Abram, if I can find 50 righteous, I spare the city. Abraham said, Lord, come on, if there ain't 50 down there, because he knew that it was a depraved situation. He said, how about 40? If I can find 40. He said, how about 30? If I can find 30. God, if I can find 10. Come on, help me somebody. If I can find 10. Somebody prayed for me and had me on their mind and took the time to pray for me. Somebody holler and say, escape. Yeah, I ain't saying, say escape for your life. Escape is powerful. Escape from a cycle of negative surroundings. Come on, help me somebody. Escape from do-nothing people. Escape from decadence. Oh, bless God. Come on, somebody say, escape for your life. The reason why one must escape for one's life, because there's no winning in this environment. You got to, the reason why you got to escape, three reasons, because it affects your judgment, it affects your behavior, and then ultimately it will affect your wealth. Y'all not helping me, come on. You got to get from a depraved, godless environment. Get some people out of your life. I don't care how emotionally attached you are to them. Get them out of your life. because it's affecting your judgment. It's affecting your behavior and affecting your wealth. Escape. Don't look back. Escape. What is back? Where is back? Back to what? Come on. Why are you going back? What is back? Roberta, what is back? Where is back? Back to what? God trying to deliver you out of something. Why are you going back? What you going back to? Where is back? Back to what? Back to poor judgment? Back to bad behavior? Back to being poor? Back to being miserable? Back to be on an emotional roller coaster? Escape, get out of there. I'm not going to look back. I'm going to forget those things which are behind me and reaching far for those things which are before me. I'm going to press. Why you're not helping? I'm going to press. I'm going to press towards the mark of the high calling in Christ. Look at your neighbor and tell them it's in the press. It's the press of moving forward, not moving backward, because there's nothing back. You can't define back. These are people, they are people, and some, they're on the wrong assumption that back is better than forward. Some of you are on the wrong assumption that back is better than forward. Back never came back. Did you hear me? Back, why don't you, I'm trying to preach to you, never came back. Back never found something back. Back often is a waste of time. Back is often a waste of energy. And back is often a waste of resources. I've heard people who had broken up in relationship and decided that they want to go back. And when they went back, they said it was a waste of my time. When they went back, they said it was a waste of my resources. When they went back, they said it was a waste of my energy, because there's nothing good about going back. Y'all not helping me. Y'all, so tell your neighbor, don't look back, because there's nothing good about going back. What is back? Where is back? Back to what? Tell your neighbor, back to what? What we going back to? Can I ask a practical question? How many of you want to go back to the pandemic? Y'all quiet. I said, how many of you want to go back to the pandemic? The back of being quarantined at home. Back of wearing your mask. Back of being 6 feet distant from each other. Back from taking vaccine that kills some people. There's nothing of value going back. So tell your neighbor, I ain't going back, and I'm not going to turn back. Somebody say, yeah. I asked the question, why did Lot's wife, unnamed, wanted to go back? Listen, the author did not have the audacity to name her. it said Lot's wife. She had a name, but the name is not given. But why? Oh, somebody said, why? Why do you think that she wanted to go back? I said, perhaps she was frightened of the unknown future. Because some people want to go back because they're frightened of the unknown future. Perhaps she became what her environment was, and she liked being back. Some folks like being depraved. Some folks like being poor. Some people like being sick. I'm telling you the truth. Hear me. Some people like folks abusing them. I'm telling you something. Some people don't feel happy until somebody cussing them out. Some people like standing on the street begging instead of getting a job. Bless God. She liked her environment. She perhaps lacked the trust in her husband because Lot's judgment in selection of this environment was off. And perhaps she didn't trust her husband's judgment. Perhaps she liked the environment that she was in. Perhaps her children, and especially her son-in-law, placed the seed of doubt of the disadvantage of abruptly leaving. Go back and read the text. Lot had son-in-laws, 2 of them. And when Lot shared with them that the angel said they're going to destroy the city, the text said they laughed. They thought it was a joke. But the joke was on them. Oh, bless it. Am I right, somebody? Why don't look back? Because what you left ain't the same. Did you hear me? What you left ain't the same. Why look back? Because back don't exist. Why look back? Because God has destroyed what was back there. Look at your neighbor and say, it doesn't exist. It's not there. It's not there. When God pronounced doom on something, the Bible said, whom I bless, no man can curse. And whom I curse, no man can bless. When God said it's over, it's over. And then finally, forward movement is God's way of blessing you. If you want God to bless you, don't look back. If you want God to give you a miracle, don't turn back. Because God is on my side. I don't know who I'm talking to, but today is the 14th day of a new year. And you know what? I've had some good days last year. I've had some weary days and some bad days. But you're quiet here, but that's all right. But when I think things all over, all of my good days, all of my good days outweigh my bad days. I can't, I won't go back. If you're here today, feel that way, you ought to testify to your neighbor. Tell him, no matter, come on, how bad it is, stay the course. You didn't hear me. Come on, come on. Look at somebody and say, oh, neighbor, no matter how bad it is, tell them the state of course. Look at somebody and say, neighbor, stay the course. Why should I stay the course? Because the race is not given to the swift or to the strong, but he that endureth to the end. Stay the course. Don't look back. Don't turn back. God is on my side. I wish I had a church up in here that would help me say, the Lord, the Lord, oh, I feel good here, is on my side. Is there anybody here that know he is? If you know he is, just holler, scream, say the Lord is on my side. Yeah! And because he is, goodness, mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I will dwell in the house of the Lord. Stay focused. Don't become misguided, misdirected, but stay focused. God is on your side. Yes, God is on my side. We live in troubled times. Seem like the sun won't shine, but I realize God, God. Woo. I think I'm in the Baptist church. I said, I think I'm in the Baptist church. If there are Baptist people up in here that would say, God, get your preacher voice on. God, God is on my side. I can't go back. I can't turn back. God, he promised, lo, I'm with you always, always, always. Look at your neighbor and say, he's with me, he's with me.